Hi, I'm Danielle, and this is Chatter Out Loud, a podcast where I share thoughts and TV commentary on shows I like to watch. Now, before I start, I want to ask that you go ahead and like, follow, share, and subscribe. And on YouTube, where I upload my companion episode of my podcast, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. This way you can get a notification every time I post a new episode, and you won't miss out. All right, so welcome back. I thank you so much for joining me. Your presence is very much appreciated. What did I say? Appreciated. Yeah, it's one of those nights, folks. I am so tired. Okay. I watched the episode last night that aired. I don't even know what episode we're on now. What is it? 15, 16 maybe? Anyway, this was the episode where we saw Marty win HOH, right? They showed us, well, first, before we saw that competition, they showed us the strategy and the discussion that led up to Jess's eviction. And initially I thought, okay, if I were a casual fan and only watched the aired episodes, no live feeds, I would walk away with there being reasoning behind Marty's mania and his flip-flopping. But because I know better, and I am a fan of this game, and I do watch live feeds, I'll just say that production is very good at narrating a story that makes Marty look sane. And dare I say, somewhat strategic. It makes him look like he has this justification to why he's banging on tables, shouting to the top of his lungs in anger. And justification behind his nasty conversation with Summer, where he reduced the conversation by telling her, I don't give a F. And then he's kicking her out of the room. And I'm going to call Big Brother on you. Like, what? See, all of that is Marty. On his own. He doesn't need help. This is his core. And I believe that to be him 100%. I don't care how much he talks to Canada and says, this isn't me. I have character. Nope. I believe this is exactly who Marty is. Banging on tables with a little rage, when he feels like he's being made a fool of. But like I said in my last episode, Marty is making a fool of himself all on his own. He's no better than anyone else in that house. Yet production would have me believe that he's being misled in the house and he's being manipulated. Yeah, right. Marty's game has been reduced to him being a flip-flopper with internal rage. His banging on that table and shouting in anger like that. Were you surprised by his rage, Canada? Marty chose to evict Gino, which, by the way, wasn't a good move for his own personal gain, in my opinion. But hold on to that for a second. Gino is in a showman's. We know that. There's two of them, and they are able to win competitions, right? They've already proven that. We see that too. So voting out Gino, it made sense to get rid of a threat. Right? If you're anyone else except Marty, right? Because Gino is willing to work with Marty. Remember, they're kind of allies in the game until they get all the other side out. Isn't that what they've been saying for a couple of weeks now? Remember, they were going after the fictitious Cookout 2.0. And for the record, there was and will only ever be the Cookout Alliance that belongs to BBUS, BB season 23, and they had a strategy of partners that worked really well all the way up to leading to Xavier winning the season, the first Black winner of BBUS. And that strategy of partners, it doesn't even present itself or exist in this Big Brother Canada season 10. We don't see it. There's no comparison. So for him to keep thinking that the Black players and the Cookout 2.0 is ridiculous. And this is why I just don't understand why Marty is so fixated on there being a cookout. The only similarity in the BBCAN season 10 and BBUS 23 is that there were 6 Black players in the house. This is when Tanisha was in the house, by the way. That's the only similarity. Herman and Summer alone, if you look at their individual games, they have shown that they're playing their own game and is much different than the cookout strategy. So there's no comparison. And I'm only saying comparison because how did Marty derive that these black players are a Cookout 2.0? Based on what? Other than that they're black players, based on what? They're not showing it in their gameplay. They have their own they have a different gameplay that's working for them, right? Individually, right? The only reason they were forced to come together is when Tanisha was getting out, and that was just to get payback for Jess. Right? But prior to that, they weren't playing like that. They had duos. Herman created that first Savage 7 alliance. I'm repeating myself, so you guys know what I mean. I just don't understand Marty. Flip-flopper Marty. And no matter what edit that production gives him, I will forever believe and know that Marty is not a strategic player and he's a flip-flopper. Flip-flopper Marty. All right. Did you notice how much he struggled during his vote when he was voting out Gino? Which also goes to show, if your gut is telling you that something's wrong, believe something's wrong. And he knew it wasn't a good move for him personally, yet he's mad because the plan didn't work out. Right? Because he would have been on the winning side of a plan. See, flip-flopper. He leans towards the power or the winning side. Goes back and forth, back and forth. And the reason he was mad at himself because he felt on the outs and he wanted us to have sympathy for him because he was tricked. He wasn't tricked. Marty was tricked by Betty and Josh? No. Marty makes his own decisions, right? He's supposed to be this comp beast. And he always talks to Canada of how great character he has. Marty's not strategic at all. He's emotional in this game. He's a mess. He tried to lie and say he didn't vote for Gino, and then he confesses to the whole house. It's just flip-flopper Marty. One day he's going to confess, or he's going to keep it to himself. The next day he's confessing. One day he's on this side. Now he's on the other side. One day he's targeting these people. Now he's targeting someone else. Like, it's flip-flopper Marty. Was he tricked to vote out Kyle? I mean, he just feels like every time he feels like he's on the side that could be exposed or like a losing side, he wants to flip. And now he's all angry, banging on tables, yelling. And that's what I mean about Marty. I don't know. I keep saying the same thing. Flip-flopper Marty. He blames other people for his rash decisions. He's not strategic at all. And by the way, Kevin is running his HOH this week. Yep. So as a reminder, Marty is the HOH this week. He announced to the House that when they had a HOH lockdown, and he announced to the House that the people that schemed and tricked him into voting out Gino were going to pay. Basically, he's threatening people, and those people would be Betty and Josh. And coincidentally, Betty was in the DR when he made this announcement to the House. So his theatrics didn't even really work because she wasn't even in the room. Oh my God. So Marty's the HOH. He nominated Betty and Josh. Kevin won this week's Power Veto. It's his first one. And thank you very much, Jordan, for letting me know. I appreciate you. Kevin has designed a plan to now target Herman. And on the surface, it looks like it's working because we know that Kevin used the Power Veto on Josh and Marty nominated Herman in his place, right? So the intention is to backdoor Herman this week and get him out of the house. This is a terrible move for two reasons. The first one is because Moose is already working with the others in the house to keep Herman, and it looks like there is a path there, right? And remember, we heard Gino call Marty a rat in the DR, right? You know, after Marty confessed to the whole house that he voted to he told Gino on the side before, and then he made that big announcement during the HOH lockdown. But we saw in Gino's diary room, remember, he's like, Marty's a rat. He's like, fool me once, shame on me, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, you know. And, you know, Gino is kind of composed. And he also saw that Marty didn't pick him in that chain of safety, you know. So that would be twice that Marty has betrayed Gino. Well, really 3 times, right? If we count that chain of safety, where Marty elected to choose Helena to be safe. He didn't choose Gino. He didn't choose Jason. He didn't choose Jess. They all think of Gino as a smart player, right? I think we agree. He keeps his composure. He operates well under pressure. He basically shows no emotion. He's feared as a competitor. And in this game, all you need is the perception of being like a competitor, right? If people say it enough times, people start to believe, yeah, he's a competitor. You really don't even have to prove that you're a competitor or a threat, but you have to make people believe you are a threat, right? Gino has won one competition as an HOH. It was a mental comp, not a physical. And he nominated and evicted his own ally. Now, but he's like seen as one of the threats. They do see Herman as a threat, which I think they all should, because Herman has proven to really get a lot of energy and get that fuel, that fire when he's fighting for his life in the game, right? He's been successful, and here Herman is now on the block again, and he's doing what he does best. He's fighting for his life in the game. I'm just saying, there's a path for Herman to stay, and Gino is potentially the key, right? Because JC Lynn is going to vote how Gino votes. So, and this is another thing I think I mentioned in my last episode in terms of showmance. Showmance never works for the woman. So anybody, ladies, if you're going to get into a showmance, in future seasons of Big Brother, we really have to change how showmance works to the woman's favor. All right. Gino, I said he's potentially the key, and Moose and Herman, they're capitalizing off of not only Herman's relationship with Gino in the game, but how Marty has screwed Gino twice. So they're going to play that up as well. And the second reason why putting Herman up is a terrible move for Marty is because Marty, again, he flip-flopped on Herman. This will come back to haunt Marty one way or another. Because if Herman stays, Marty's in trouble, and his game is in jeopardy, especially if Herman stays. Herman has proven he can win and how he gets fuel, right, when he's fighting for his life in the game. And if they are successful in getting Herman out, Herman is the first one in the jury. And this move is terrible because Marty has done terrible jury management, right? He told Herman, kick your feet up. Marty and this kicking your feet up. He needs to stop telling people that. He has told Betty that, Josh that. I think he's told Moose that. And this is what I'm saying. He flip-flops. He changes his targets. He's on different sides of the house. He doesn't know. Where is Marty? Where's Marty? I mean, he's all over the place. Flip-flopper Marty. You can't keep up. He is so messy. And then he's keeping things to himself. And then he all of a sudden confesses at the oddest times, right? People are like, what? What's going on? It's entertaining, needless to say. I'm going to get a lot of satisfaction. I think I mentioned this in my last episode. I will get a lot of satisfaction if Herman stays. That will, just watching Marty be nervous in the game will crack me up, and he'll have to operate from a position where he's not in power. And if he does stay, that means Gino and or JC Lynn decided to keep Herman, and Marty should be threatened by that as well, right? Because that means now Gino is working with Herman. So this will be good. But if they do evict Herman and get him out, he's the first one in jury. And so, again, Herman is very influential in that game. And if everything goes the way Marty wants it to go, all the 5 players, black players that are left in the game, they all are in jury. They're going to be the majority to decide who wins. And the way Marty has talked to these people and telling people to put their feet up and then backstabbing them and stuff. Yes, it's part of the game, but he has poor jury management and he won't win. Sorry, he won't. And with Herman being the first one in that jury, if they evict him successfully, Herman can convince people. So I'm telling you, Marty has no chance of winning now, right? I'm sorry, Canada. It's just not looking good for Marty. I can't wait for Marty to come to that realization when Arissa announced that Herman, if it's him, or Betty, if it's her, that's the first person in jury. Oh my gosh. He's gonna be. Is he gonna be banging on tables again? Yelling and screaming. Canada, wishing for powers. Oh my goodness. So we'll look forward to the next episode that airs tomorrow night on Wednesday when we see the rest of Marty's rage after he banged on that table, shouting at the top of his lungs in anger, right? Because it was a to be continued. We'll have to see if production had to replace that table he banged on. I'm just kidding. But we'll see Kevin's plan at work to get Herman backdoored. So I'm looking forward to that next episode just to see how much Kevin is playing this game. I'm telling you, if Kevin pulls this off, he'll get even more respect from me, and a lot of fans, right? I respect him in the game, yes, because he's playing well. He's playing exactly like he said he was going to play. I thought he would be obnoxious, and at times he is. I mean, the whole acting like he's his own attorney and doing these bits, and then the dancing. I don't know. Kevin is he's playing the game well. That's what I want to say. He has no blood on his hands. He's influenced a second HOH in a row, right? And hopefully we'll maintain that trend, right? Meaning like Kevin helped Jess during their HOH and Jess was evicted the next week. Now Kevin is helping Marty during his HOH and maybe Marty will be evicted next week. Let's keep that trend going, right? Whoever Kevin is helping during the HOH, that person will be evicted the next week. Oh my God. If I'm honest, the game is not boring. Flip-flopper Marty and his theatrics, Betty and her reads, Helena and her lies. Helena lies like a politician. She never breaks character, right? She stays with that lie. She doesn't break a sweat. It's very impressive. She's still holding on to that she didn't make that second vote for Gino. And people are believing her. So what she's doing is working for her. Good for you, Helena. Oh, yeah. And I thought I heard Helena call Betty a cow. But when she and Betty were chatting, I think it was earlier today, or maybe it was yesterday. I can't remember exactly the time, but I remember that Helena brought this up, or Betty may have brought it up, because I think after that vote with Gino or something like that. Anyway, Helena called Betty a cow, but she was explaining, she meaning Helena was explaining that calling someone a cow was referring to someone's rude behavior, not their body. Does anyone know about this? Educate me. I'm like, okay, Helena. And JC Lynn, I heard her in a conversation with Helena today where she called Summer's behavior disgusting. And she's referring to how she gets the guys to do things for her versus fighting for herself. And I thought, wow, JC Lynn, your jealousy is showing. It doesn't look good on you. I think JC Lynn is a little salty because she's been on the block twice now and have had to fight in competitions to continue to advance her game. And I think she resents Summer because Summer has been able to use her mental and verbal and social abilities to advance her game, right? So JC Lynn is so bothered by Summer. Interesting. Gino doesn't even consider her Summer a target right now. And that also bothers JC Lynn. That bothers her even more than anything, I think. Like, why do you have to protect her, Gino? You know, so she's acting out and now verbalizing her dislike for Summer. She finds Summer's behavior disgusting. That's what she said. She feels like Summer is being carried throughout the game. And quite frankly, JC Lynn is wrong. She's just flat out wrong. Summer has influenced a lot that has gone on in that house. She has a great social game. Now, I agree with the sentiment that she has to win an HOH soon, very soon. I don't deny that, JC Lynn, but ma'am, only the great are blessed with black girl magic. Don't hate. I'm just kidding. I just found it interesting that JC Lynn called Summer's behavior disgusting and how she's being carried through the game. She was like really upset. She's so bothered by Summer. Why, JC Lynn? You have the man. Like, what is going on? Anyway, but Summer really does have to win an HOH soon. Very soon. All right. Herman and Betty are on the block. Do you think there's a path forward for Herman to stay? Let me know what you think in a comment. Please and thank you. And that's all I have. So be sure to come back and give me a listen. I'd love for you to like, share, follow, and subscribe. Leave me a comment. Leave me a message. If you're listening to the podcast, there's a link to leave me a message right on the landing area there. So please check that out. All right. My name is Danielle, and you're listening to my podcast, Chatter Out Loud. Thank you so much for joining me. And as always, I appreciate your support. And that's all I have. Thanks again for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.